And welcome to Cancel This, everybody. Happy Thursday, March 22nd. This is Cancel This, cancelthisshow.com. Oh, are we ready to rock and roll on this Thursday, everybody? We have arguably our biggest lineup yet, one of our biggest lineups. It depends on what you get excited about. I'm excited. I'm starstruck with our first guest today, Mike Yoder. There's nobody doing it better from a constitutional standpoint when it comes to law. Just wait until you catch Mike today. You won't want to miss that. He'll be up at about 8:45. And then coming up at 9:30, should we play the drop, or is that too much to ask right now when I've got Scotty doing about a million things? We're going to hear from the nature boy, Ric Flair, on cancel culture. Of course, the nature boy hates everything woke, dislikes everything cancel culture. We'll also talk about his woo choose. Yeah, he's got a marijuana company along with Mike Tyson, who has Mike Bites. Go figure. Marketing geniuses there. He'll come up at 9:30. We'll talk about the cancel culture aspect. That's what we do here. We try to do that as well as anybody, informing and educating. He'll also tell us about his marijuana business, and hopefully he'll explain to Tabitha what exactly a nature boy is.
I can't wait to find out.
Of course, Tabitha can't wait for that. Tabitha Hassel in studio. Lizzie Sparks, Eric Johnson on the way, and of course, Scotty, our engineer, producer extraordinaire, running the boards. But that's only part of the battle. Just wait until you see this absolutely hilarious commercial. Now Russia is making fun of us and our wokeism on their TV ads. That's a can't miss. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Plus, Biden. Just wait until you see his judicial nominees. These are people who are supposed to know the law. They've been practicing as judges, and they can't answer basic law questions. Senator Kennedy grilled them. I mean, the disgust in his face as these two sat there. By the way, we're all about diversity on the show, but you can't push somebody forward just because they're diverse when they don't have the chops to do the job. You can be the choice when you see the video. That more, plus who might be Trump's vice presidential candidate. Tabitha, you're going to hate it. I love it. Who Greg Gutfield says he thinks it's going to be.
Well, since I don't care what Greg Gutfield thinks, it doesn't matter to me.
So we're ready to rock and roll on this Thursday. Stay with us. Share the show. Like, subscribe, the stars, the donate. You can do it all. We love it. We appreciate it. Lots of energy here, as you know what we do. Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time from our video and audio platforms on cancelthisshow.com. Here's a look at our partners who are sponsoring and advertising with the show. If you know somebody or yourself you'd like to get involved, let us know. We'll get you involved. And of course, you can reach the eyeballs and the ears that we have. Back with more, cancelthisshow.com after you listen to our advertisers.
This is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local athletes to injured workers and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com, DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now. Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
White Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car, hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Attention all foodies in the St. Louis area. Are you tired of bland, boring food that lacks flavor? Look no further than Pixie Dust Seasoning. That's P-I-X-Y. Pixie Dust Seasoning is a healthy, low-sodium brand with sugar-free options. We've sprinkled a little magic into every bottle so you can enjoy delicious, flavorful meals without the guilt. Pixie Dust Seasoning can be found in all Fresh Time locations and select Schnuck stores in the St. Louis market. If you can't make it to the store, don't worry. You can find us online at www.pixiedustseasoning.com. So what are you waiting for? Add a little magic to your meals with Pixie Dust Seasoning. Our tagline says it all. Sprinkle a little magic. Try it today.
And when you visit the site, be sure to use the code name Vic so they know you came from cancelthisshow.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
And welcome back into cancelthisshow.com. Happy Thursday, everybody. March 22nd. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Lizzie Sparks in studio, Scotty Gherkin, producer, engineer on the boards, as always, making us look and sound as good as we can. Eric Johnson en route. Okay, with that being said, we promoted the show, which is coming up. Mike Yoder, arguably the best constitutional attorney in America. Just wait till you hear the cases he has done. Tabitha, we found somebody who's actually fighting Antifa and
Good.
winning in the
Good.
courts.
Someone has to.
And fighting Obama, fighting Biden. Fight for Tabitha. He's doing it in his field, and everybody can in their own sense and whatever you do in life. And Mike's doing that from his standpoint. I love law. I should have went into law. That's why I get excited and super jacked about talking to people who are super, super intelligent with law, because guess what? When law comes down on you in these situations because you're a conservative, or you don't want to be forced to lose your job because you didn't want to take a vaccine, had no problem with anybody else taking a cupcake, but you didn't want to. That's what he did. So that was the whole situation there. Ric Flair coming up at 9:30. We'll talk to Mike at about 8:45-ish. 9:30, Ric Flair. Okay, with that being said, we're ready to rock and roll on this Thursday. Okay, we already know our lives are not better than they were 2.5 years ago. You don't have to like Donald Trump, but you know, and we all agree, America was in a much better place all the way around just 2.5 years ago. And now things have gotten so bad here. Russia's making fun of us in their commercials.
Imagine that.
When I saw this, I thought it was a great commercial to show. We see it every day. We live with it, but don't we always say, guys, you have to be careful about what you're living in? And I think this is why you talk about fighting, Tabitha, because you get used to things around you. You just get beat down.
People are complacent, unfortunately.
We're humans.
I understand. I'm human too, but we are very complacent.
Well, Scotty's going to load that up and let us know when it's ready to go. And this is one of those situations where I watched this and I went, oh my Lord, we really are the laughing stock of the country.
Of course we
The
are.
commercials were not being run from other countries when Trump was president, but they certainly are with Joe Biden in office, and that's not taking a shot at Joe Biden. None of that is. So with that being said, we're ready to rock and roll. We're going to show this commercial.
Scotty's like, well, I'm not quite ready yet, but I'm getting there.
Okay. I thought it was ready to go when we came in this morning.
It's Instagram. So as soon as I hit that, I don't know if it's playing right now in the background or not.
It's all good when you want.
I hate Instagram.
You have to hit start, and we rock and roll as we say good morning to everybody.
And Instagram.
Let's try it.
All right.
В Америку летите?
Да, переезжаем.
Америка самая свободная страна. Страна возможностей.
А вы с мужем летите?
Да, мы вместе. Он сейчас подойдет. А вот и мой муж. Знакомьтесь.
Эмили.
Простите, мистер. Пассажиры позади вас вегетарианцы. Им неприятно, что при них употребляют мясо.
Мы же их не заставляем это.
Простите, но в США принято придерживаться принципов демократии. Позвольте, я это заберу.
Парень, тут очередь в туалет.
What do you want?
В очередь вставь в туалет.
I want to go to the toilet.
Простите, мистер, что случилось?
Да вот парень без очереди лезет тут.
И что? Вы не хотите его пропустить?
Я?
Конечно, конечно. Его надо пропустить. Мы подождем. Его народ долгие годы терпел притеснение белых. Мы перед всеми афроамериканцами в долгу. Простите нас, сэр.
Прошу вас. Вы не могли бы пересесть в носовую часть самолета?
В смысле, я один?
Нет, вы все трое.
The idea of what's happening from that standpoint. You get the idea. Scotty, we're good with that. If you read the subtitles of how much they make fun of our woke, how much they make fun of you're going to offend somebody. You're going to upset them because, you've got your child here, or now you're in their way, or now you can't do this, and now you can't eat meat. It really goes to show what's happening in America. I hate it.
I couldn't see the little subtitles because our screen is so tiny.
Yeah, well, and Instagram doesn't allow me to expand it
I
like
know.
on some of the other channels.
But it looks funny.
Yeah. Well,
And we deal with that. And welcome to America. With that being said, we talked about it this whole week. China, brokering peace in the Middle East, not America. China cozying up to who else? Oh, Russia, to get things done in the Middle East. It's not America. Our financial institutions are not doing hell. Ford's doing terrible now. EV is not catching on.
Imagine
Billions
that.
of dollars of losses last year and for 2023. EV's not catching on.
Come on, man.
Go figure. Those are some of the things that are happening. So
Come on, man.
as we talk about all of this, and we're going to get into it, it's like, okay, are we going to get new leadership? Are we going to have something happen with a new president and Donald Trump? And it's the biggest story, which we'll be talking about with Mike Yoder, a constitutional attorney, coming up. Oh, wouldn't you know, as we talked about, the case got dropped for a day.
What?
Then you heard all the headlines coming out yesterday. What happened? Oh, yeah, well, the case is kind of weak. This is exactly what Cancel the Show has been telling you. There would be no arrest on Tuesday or Wednesday. It's all a joke.
I don't know if it's a joke, but I mean, clearly,
It's a joke. It's been a
clearly
joke from day
nothing
one.
has happened. And I've heard that the grand jury has not assembled today. So it doesn't seem like anything's
because they're
going to
vote
happen
no.
today.
That's why.
Well, I mean, first of all, let's just say there was a leak. And let's just say that
So
Trump
we're doing
really
so
did-
we're doing a hypothetical. here.
Correct.
Okay.
Let's just say there was a leak, and let's just say Trump truly thought he was going to be arrested. I mean, it is a very weak case. This is old news. They've already had subpoenas. People already went to jail over it.
So what's the
This is a
problem?
really old thing. I don't even know why it's coming up in the Manhattan DA office at all.
You know
yeah,
why
of
it
course you know.
I mean,
why.
I know why,
Come
because
on.
they're coming after Trump, but it's such a ridiculous case. No grand jury is going to get together unless they're people who just are never Trumpers to want to indict him over something that happened years ago.
Why are you confused about that? Because this is their playbook.
I'm not
They are
confused at
using
all.
every tool at their disposal to destroy as much stuff as they can.
Well, we know that.
They're like little wrecking balls, all of them. It's like army ants meets wrecking balls, and that's exactly what they are. And Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, has a sliver. Not even a sliver, like a really small little splinter that might go in your hand that's not even sharp enough to get into your hand. He goes, all right, how can we use this against Donald Trump? And they're trying, and they're trying, and they're trying, and they're trying to fit the square peg through the round hole. And that's what they're doing. And what you're seeing people in the DA's office, reports are, that they're like, you can't do this. This is against the law. You're abusing your power. This is in the office. Then you get to the grand jury, and those people are basically saying, yeah, this guy did nothing. We're going to vote no. And Alvin Bragg is like, hold on. Take a break. Just go watch some soap operas for the day. We'll try to find something else. And you're seeing what is not against the law, quote unquote, but you're seeing an abuse of power. And you have Congress saying, why don't you come on down here to Washington, D.C. Let's have a talk about what the hell you're doing.
So then are you saying, and I just want to clarify because this goes back to your point, Vic, are you saying that there truly was a leak?
Yes.
And that truly Trump was going to be arrested?
I'll tell you what happened.
So it's not a facade for Trump to raise that $1.5 million.
I'll tell you what happened.
Eric's never felt that way.
I'll tell you what happened. Ready? Somebody make a call down to Trump's people and let them know the logistics of how we're going to have to handle arresting this guy. Okay, we'll talk to you on Monday. Boom. Someone tells Trump in some office somewhere in Mar-a-Lago or wherever he's at and goes, Mr. Trump, yeah, it sounds like they're getting ready to ramp this up. Okay, stand by. Give me my True Social thing real fast. That's exactly what happened.
I heard it was a fired employee. Don't know if this is true. Just on the circles that you see, it was somebody that was fired called Trump.
I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee it.
So both of you then, I know, Vic, you think that it was all a ruse. Trump never heard a leak. He just made it up to get attention and to raise funds.
No, here's what I said.
But you two think the opposite.
Well, but
I don't know what to think.
Well, here's what I told you all.
I don't know what to think.
Well, I tried to correct you on Monday and say there's not going to be an arrest on Tuesday. And you're like, well, I'm not so sure.
I'm still not sure.
And I still there wasn't.
I still don't know what.
It's Thursday.
I know,
it's
but
Thursday,
they're still
Tabitha. It already happened.
But they're still talking about an indictment happening.
Tuesday, the arrest did not happen. As I told you, one of the reasons why was because of our guest today, Mike Yoder. I listened to him. I watch him. He broke it down. He's like, listen, people, this is pretty simple. If Donald Trump was not running for president, this would not be a deal.
Well, of course.
The second point with that whole situation is if Donald Trump wasn't so popular and leading most every single poll by 20, 30, 40 percentage points, this would not be a big deal.
But we all agree with that.
This is all about stopping Donald from raising money, trying to come after him, because as we have learned in life, I've learned, you guys have learned, if you're successful, if you're starting to have success, your enemies don't want to see you have success. So they'll throw anything they can at the wall, see if it sticks, to try to defame you, try to hurt you, and try to knock you out of whatever you're doing, as they're doing with Trump.
Well, we all agree with that. But your position
on even argue about today.
But your position on Monday was that there was no leak, there was no indictment, there was no arrest coming.
Yeah, because there was no proof.
And there was, but now you think that there truly was an intention on the DA to arrest him.
No, first of all,
you still don't think that.
I don't know why you're caught up on this.
I'm not. I'm just trying to make sense of it because I don't understand what's going on. I'm trying to make sense of it in my own head.
Trump doesn't even know what's happening.
Because what I want to know,
Trump anticipated,
was there a leak or was there not a leak?
Eric was right on Monday. Eric anticipated, he got out in front of it, and he did what he could to try to do whatever, because as I told you, Donald's the deal maker.
It would be like this. It'd be like the St. Charles Police Department trying to go into St. Louis. They're totally out of their jurisdiction, first of all. They're trying to make here's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to make a federal case out of a super local case, and they're trying to take what is a misdemeanor and make it a felony. Usually it's the other way around. It goes felony to misdemeanor so you can get someone to plead to the misdemeanor.
Well,
not work it up the damn ladder.
But I do think there was a leak. I do think that Trump.
Well, the leak is exactly what I said.
I know, but on Monday, again, I thought there was a leak, but I just thought that maybe Trump was baited into something, and they really were not.
Who cares if he was baited?
Exactly.
It matters.
The bottom line, he wasn't arrested on Tuesday.
Matter. It does matter. You know why it matters? Because if you look at all the headlines in this morning's news, they are blasting Trump for making the entire thing up, for using this as a way to raise funds without ever any threat of arrest. It doesn't matter to me.
There's no proof that there was any
If you
leak.
guys would just let me say what I'm saying, you'd understand
You've
my
been
point
saying
of
it
view.
for 5 minutes.
No, I haven't. I haven't said hardly a word in the 20 minutes
You're
I've
the
been
only
here.
voice we've heard.
Absolutely not.
Anyway, we're going to get into this a lot later with Mike Yoder, constitutional attorneys, coming up about 8:45 pending traffic. We'll see, as he was making his way from the chase this morning.
Did you guys
join us live in studio?
Oh, really? What?
Yes.
Okay. Here, did you guys? So
on our messages,
man, I got so many questions.
There's a lot going to be going on. It is definitely going to be a circus.
Lizzie Sparks taking care of the social media line. If you have questions, you want to jump, Lizzie does all of our chat line right there. So if you see her looking down, that's what she does. Scotty Gherkin on the boards. Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson, and I'm Vic Faust.
I actually showed up 2 minutes before I'm usually here.
Yeah, you were early. You were really early. And this is a good day to be here early.
Did anybody watch Tashara Jones's interview last night?
I saw some.
and I don't
Tashara
care
Jones, St. Louis
at
City
all.
Mayor.
I'm sorry. I just had to ask because we all talk about our lovely mayor, and she is lovely.
I'm really serious. Pretty.
She could literally be on Vogue magazine.
Mm-hmm. She's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
She's very good in person, too, when you speak to her, from the interviews that I've done with her.
But she just doesn't want to address the issues. And I will say this, KSDK Channel 5, our local news hack here in St. Louis, my God, can you ask any more softball questions?
Eric,
can you
everybody.
ask? The only softer thing could have Mike Bush.
Eric, if you ask, Tabitha's never been in local news, but even Tabitha talked about this when I was in local news. If you continue to ask really, really hardcore questions, as Tabitha would and you would, guess what happens?
You get
the media gets
get canceled.
You get canceled. That's exactly what happens all the time.
Yeah.
Hey Scott, could you get that video ready of what's happened? This is why the only other video I sent you today. So we've got this just blew my mind. Okay, you've got our president, Biden, putting up judicial picks or the puppet masters or whoever else that don't even know law. They don't know this is what's happening. Senator Kennedy just undresses them in the worst form imaginable. This is all about, is it diversity? Is it equity? Or are the people actually qualified? Take a listen to what happened on Capitol Hill.
How about Article 2?
Neither is Article 2.
Okay. Do you know what purposivism is?
Ooh.
In my 12 years as an assistant attorney general and my 9 years serving as a judge, I was not faced with that precise question. We are the highest trial court in Washington state, so I'm frequently faced with issues that I'm not familiar with, and I thoroughly review the law, research, and apply the law to the facts presented to me.
Well, you're going to be faced with it if you're confirmed. I can assure you of that. Can you tell me what the independent state legislature theory is? I'm just asking you, not your opinion of what is it? It's before the Supreme Court now.
In my 12 years as a Washington State Assistant Attorney General, and that particular doctrine was not presented to me.
Brutal.
Tell me how you analyze a Brady motion.
How I analyze a Brady motion?
Yes.
Senator, in my 4.5 years on the bench, don't believe I've had the occasion to address a Brady motion in my career.
Do you know what a Brady motion is?
Senator, in my time on the bench, I've not had occasion to address that, and so it's not coming to mind at the moment what a Brady motion is.
Do you recall the U.S. Supreme Court case, Brady v. Maryland?
I do recall the name of the case, Senator, yes.
And what did it hold?
I believe that the Brady case, Senator, I believe the Brady case involves something regarding the Second Amendment. It is not. I've not had occasion to address that. If that issue were to come before me, I would certainly analyze that Supreme Court precedent and apply it. as I would need to the facts in front of me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can you believe that?
Okay, so it's like this. Vic Faust is applying to be the head mechanic at Bommarito Cadillac. He just saw a job out there.
Actually,
and
the
then
head mechanic at Complete Auto Body Care.
Complete Auto Body, bing. And I go, Mr. Faust, can you tell me what a catalytic converter actually does? And Vic goes,
in my experience, I've never had work with a catalytic converter.
I think people pawn it for the platinum in there.
Or copper.
Mr. Faust, what is a steering wheel? I would have to look that up. That's exactly what you just watched right there. And it speaks to what we've been speaking about on this show, competence. Why? It's like nepotism. When you go and you hire someone in your family that can't do the job, but you know they're going to get paid. That's what our government has been going through for the last, 100 years maybe? And it's time to stop because things are starting to get really complicated, especially in the judicial system. My God. So here's what I proposed. Lizzie, this is another one of my platforms. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. If I run for something, I don't know what it's going to be. We're not going to do this thing where you nominate someone and it goes to a committee and then you get literally set into the seat. No, there will be a job interview. You will literally have to take a test on that damn job, just like what Governor or Senator Johnson just did. You will need to get a proficiency scoring of at least 85, right? A B? Would you say a B?
I would think, yeah, for sure.
So if I'm going to be the head of the National Transportation Association or whatever it is, I need to score an 85 on the job requirements for that job. If I get an 84, I'm sorry. Thank you. To apply next time there's another. Right? Do you think that's a good idea or not?
Yes, and ask them the hard questions. So
yes.
They're not embarrassed like that.
Yes.
Like have a work day and ask all these questions. But
yes.
I don't think they do that.
No.
Tabitha, go.
I don't know. To me, there's so many crazy issues going on in the world right now. Our Congress is a joke. It's all a joke. I mean, do we expect anything better? No.
And like Paula on the chat line, she
that's
literally
it.
said,
That's all you got
for it. That's all you got for putting incompetent people.
I've got bigger things on my mind.
She's got to worry about Ukraine. Go.
What's okay?
There's nothing new going on the Ukraine front. Just the same old stuff.
Paula on the chat line has a good point that this is all a script. So they are acting dumb. And I'm elaborating on that a little bit more because it is like a shadow government. So they don't want them very smart and they just give them a script. And when they can't answer the questions of the script, they don't know.
No, they
it's a woke situation.
No, what happens is you get Alvin Braggs. You get Alvin Braggs and you go,
Eric.
and you say, look,
Bingo.
Alvin, your job is real simple. You have to, this is what the job calls for. You are literally, you don't just protect Biden. Here's where it gets really moral. You don't just protect Biden. You have to find it in your heart to also protect Trump.
Right. But
that's where the morality of this stuff comes in. You are tasked. Do you hate somebody? Do you hate the guy that whoever you're charging? You have the moral obligation to make sure you do not tip the scales in one way or another. So that's what I'm talking about. So if Alvin Bragg was to take a job in a test and he scored an 84, he wouldn't be eligible for this job, right? Cori Bush is the same way. Cori, do you understand what community safety means? Yes. Take a test and see if you can score above an 85.
Yeah, she's got other ideas. And
exactly.
She's trying to deal when it comes to what
you understand,
she was elected.
What are the consequences of defunding the police? I need an essay by 12 o'clock today, Cori.
Well,
could you imagine you actually telling her that? She'd go, what's an essay?
Yeah. These are not, you're not being appointed to be a king. You're being appointed to do a damn job, like pick up the trash.
Well, sometimes our job here, and a lot of it's, as you say, Eric, quarterbacking on Monday, speculation, what is going to happen, what's not going to happen. But I found this so fascinating. We all talk about Donald Trump running for president and winning the Republican nomination. Who does VP be? We've talked about that. I've said who I thought, Tabitha, Eric, Lizzie, Scotty. Eric, you love Greg Gutfeld.
I do, because he's kind of my sense of humor, I guess.
He's grown on me.
I could see him.
He does not grow on me.
I could drink a couple Guinness. I feel like I don't even drink Guinness beer, but if I was at a pub, I could drink a couple Guinnesses with him.
He's like a wart.
He
has to grow on you. I think I'm with Tabitha. I did not like him at all at first. And now he's kind of grown on me like a wart. I would agree with that.
I don't watch Fox News. So the very few opportunities I've had to see him, it's just not my thing.
Well, here's why what he says is important or brings validity. I mean, it brings some validity to the table, more so than your average guy, because he does have the #1 rated late night show. So with that, they have become #1. That brings instant credibility, instant validity.
That's right.
Whether we like him or not or whatever. Okay, with that being said, he has now floated the idea of Tulsi Gabbard being the vice presidential pick of Donald Trump. He even said, listen, I don't agree with 30 to 40% of what she stands for, but Trump sees that, would think about it being a female, being a former Democrat, and now calling herself an independent.
It makes sense to me.
I think it makes sense. It does make sense, actually. Here's the problem. I think that I think she pissed off Democrats, and she actually became, she became a Republican because of what the Democrats were doing. And I think that pissed off real
She's not
Democrats.
a Republican. Don't be confused.
Very well said.
She is not a Republican, and she is not a conservative. She is still very much a Democrat. But Eric,
let me ask
she's
you
a more
this.
moderate
Let me ask you this.
Democrat.
Do you think she's more Republican than a Mitt Romney?
No. Well, no, I don't.
Do you think she's more Republican than a Susan Collins?
No.
Really?
I like her.
She literally went out of her way.
Democrat.
She went out of her way to change, and she didn't have to do this. She could have been living a carefree life over there in Hawaii, but she went out of her way to change her registration.
She's standing up for her values, and that's what everyone needs to do. And her values are not in line with what the Democrat Party has now become, because you know how often you say, well, Democrats, they all stick together. They all stick together. They unify, and they come to, well, they lost their party because they stuck together and they unified.
See, she listens to you.
They ended up being
Tabitha's listening.
I think I might have stolen it from her, though.
Well said.
I might have stolen it from her, though.
Well, they became more progressive. And so now the Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party anymore. They are the very far left, 2% of the progressives. And so Tulsi is one of many people. There's many people who feel just like she do, where they're still Democrats, are still voting Democrat, but they no longer associate with their party. So that would be a good choice for Trump, because then potentially he could pull all those moderate Democrats.
The only thing I would say about Tulsi Gabbard is I would think that she could run for president as a Republican.
No.
Never in a million years.
I don't know why you said no.
She's not a Republican.
That's not good for me to say no. I need to give you a reason.
She has a unique ability to speak with a lot of decorum. She's very intelligent. She has a background platform in being in the military. She's disgusted with all this woke garbage. I could totally
But she's
see her.
not conservative.
I think
she's not conservative. She's not a Republican, Eric. She's still, her values are still very different than ours, but she's more moderate than the progressive. She's actually a real Democrat, because the Democrat Party
that's good. Well
isn't
said.
Democrat anymore. She's actually a real Democrat, what Democrats have been for many years. She's not us. She's not a Republican. She's not a conservative, but she is still better than the progressives.
I like her.
I like her too.
I like her too.
But she's still a Democrat, and she still does not have our values.
But would it be the ultimate move to try to move the country more center?
Well, do we want to do that?
No, I don't think so.
There's only been one person in this country.
Yeah, very good question.
There's only been one person that I know of in this country that has literally turned to Kamala Harris and have a discussion, an argument with her, saying, "Who are you calling racist? What's this racism stuff you're talking about?" She literally got, and she is literally. I think she puts her money where her mouth is. She basically thinks she's a Democrat, like you said, a blue collar Democrat from Hawaii. Maybe a little social twist in there, here and there. But I think that she really does appreciate the fabric of the country.
And
she probably aligns more with Reagan than she does with AOC.
I don't know if I agree. Well, than AOC, yeah. But at the same time, we still have to remember she's still a Democrat. She still has.
So is Trump.
No, Trump is not.
So is Trump.
No, he's not. Trump is very different from Tulsi Gabbard. I like her, Eric. I really
Trump
do.
is not a Democrat.
No, he is. He was. He was a Democrat.
Everybody was at one time.
Exactly. Tulsi Gabbard.
I don't know about that.
She lost.
My parents
her party.
were.
I think once Reagan came out and you said, "I'm a Reagan guy," you were a Republican. Even if you were a young person, you said, "I'm a Republican." Then Bush Senior came and they're like, well, wait a minute, hold on, this new guy Clinton, he's kind of cool too.
There have been a lot of different types of Democrats, just like there have been a lot of different types of conservatives.
I never liked Clinton.
No more new taxes.
But keep in mind, Greg Gutfeld's not just going to come out and say something for the hell of it right
now.
Well,
it's clear why he's saying it, because he thinks that Trump will have the majority, which would be us true conservatives, and Tulsi would have the people who used to be Democrats who lost their party.
She's a semi-influencer.
A lot of the people, there's no question that there are a lot of people out there, Democrats, who lost their party, who feel like they have no options right now and that no party represents them. And so I could see them finding a little bit of a home base with Trump. I really can see that. So I understand why he said it. Whether it would work, I don't know. Because a lot of our followers are still anti-Trumpers.
He definitely went the vanilla route with Pence. That's for sure. He was like, let's just keep this safe. I'll do all the heavy lifting here and I'll just get Pence.
For sure. Yeah, but Pence, Pence was a good guy back in the day.
Look what Obama did to Biden. I mean, come on.
It's the same thing.
Look what Obama's still doing to Biden.
Yeah. It's like when you go on tour and you're a really big band, who's the smallest band we can find that's not going to take away from our magic?
By the way, the anticipated interview, Piers Morgan, and the other guy we're waiting on to jump into that race, Ron DeSantis, is scheduled to take place today at 4:30 Eastern time on Fox News. They've got the exclusive full interview, DeSantis and Piers Morgan. Some of the things that have been linked as we talk about presidential candidates and hopefuls. I found it interesting. I was thinking about you, Tabitha, because this morning, while Ron DeSantis called Putin, he said that he wants to have all of this military might around the world. He's like, he's got nukes, but he's got them at a gas station. He basically said he can't do what he wants to do. And he says he agrees with the ICC and the international crimes, the court cases, the crimes going against him. He agrees with it, but he stopped short of saying, well, he's somebody we really have to be very concerned about.
China is who we have to be concerned with. But what we need to be concerned with, and it's such a complex situation, is the group of people that are coming together against us. It's not any one country. Russia, though, they do have good weapons. They have the Poseidon, which has a nuclear weapon. It's a submarine, that they could launch at us at any time. They could be anywhere and we wouldn't even know they're there. So, they are a threat. I'm not even going to get into the arrest because that's just all ridiculousness.
Which arrest?
Not the arrest, but the arrest warrant.
Oh, the ICC.
On Putin from the ICC.
The international.
The thing about
absolutely ridiculous.
The thing about the
and
ICC
that's
arrest
propaganda.
warrant, it's not. Because,
no, it is.
Because what's going to happen is
nothing's going to happen.
It basically opens a file, so everything from this point forward gets thrown in this file. And you got to look at World War II. We're in a very interesting space in our life right now where we're seeing parallels now of World War II. You're seeing countries that normally hated each other or weren't really. They're coming together.
They are. They're coming together.
You're seeing Nuremberg type discussions.
It's what Tabitha's been telling us.
You're seeing Nuremberg type
Eric
discussions.
finally realizes it.
It's the BRICS deal, and they're going to be adding letters.
You could absolutely see a scenario. It's the nuclear threat is not as far fetched. It's way more far fetched to me than. Hold on. It's way more far fetched to me than 24 months from now, the Russian people uprising, handing Putin over to an ICC and saying, this guy's a clown.
That will never happen.
I don't know.
2/3 of the country support him.
The reason I say that is there's videos now of all over the place that weren't there a few months ago of Russian soldiers saying, this guy's a clown and we're done here. Have you seen those?
I've seen
the propaganda you speak to, Tabitha?
There's a lot of propaganda, Eric. And you know what? Of course, these soldiers who are going and fighting and losing their lives, of course they're not happy. They don't want to be in war. Russia doesn't want to be in war any more than we or anyone else does. There's no question people don't like war. But 2/3 of the people in Russia support
think about this.
Putin.
Putin will never. Watch this one. He'll never show up at a G8 or G whatever meeting ever again, because as soon as he does, there will be.
I don't think he cares. I mean,
but seriously, he did care. He cared a while ago. Oh, sure, he wanted to be part of all those meetings.
Those people have always been his enemy. Those people have always been against him. As a matter of fact, BRICS
China is the
opposite of G8.
Okay.
That's who he fights against.
I defer to you because I feel like you know more about this than I do.
Well, G8 is NATO, and then BRICS was created to fight against NATO. NATO was created to fight against Russia. And to Anthony Merkel's point on the comment line, he said, I'm giving Russia too much credit for their military. Well, I will tell you what, Russia right now, I think I should give them credit because you know what? Even though I'm not happy about this invasion, I wish it didn't happen. I hate to see any lives lost. I really do. Though that blood is on our hands here in the United States. But think about this. Russia has withstood, his military, Putin's military has withstood all of the equipment, all of the money that we, the United States and Europe, think of all the over $1 trillion that we've sent to Ukraine. And guess what? Russia is still fighting. They're still standing on their own.
They're just blowing stuff up now. There's going to come a day
Well,
when the attrition.
Eric,
here's
the problem that we have with that whole situation. And this is, and it's not going to end well. This is where I am totally with Tabitha. And as I go back, and here's my issue with it. One, Putin did offer. Now, keep in mind, Putin did offer to sign a peace treaty.
Many times.
To have talks. But the problem, Tabitha, with that is the fact it's not the terms that Ukraine wants. And this is the problem with peace treaties.
Oh, absolutely so.
And that's why China is trying to step in. Well, we're going to see. We'll see what we can do because clearly America doesn't have a foothold anymore.
But did you see China's peace treaty?
No.
Okay, well, China and Russia are together in wanting Russia to keep that eastern region that they've already occupied.
Yeah, we're agreed on that.
And so the issue is and has always been, they started trying to negotiate before the invasion even took place. They started talking about this invasion 2 years before it actually happened. That's why I was following it so closely even before it happened. And therefore, Ukraine has always known, the United States, we've all known what Russia has wanted. Putin has been very clear that he wanted this eastern region because he wanted to liberate his Russian-speaking people, that were being murdered by Ukrainians.
It's the same thing trying to put a peace treaty together in the Middle East. It's not going to happen because neither side is going to give in.
That's right, Vic.
And Putin's not going to give in. I doubt Zelensky is going to give in, and that's where the problem comes. And that's why we get into that once you got who's going to be leading America when all of this stuff is happening, when we continue to send hundreds of millions and billions and teens of billions to Ukraine. We're not stopping. It's the tap is still turned on. The money's flowing. We have not turned that tap off and show no signs of doing so.
We just sent them another $350 million.
Which is why it's so important who becomes president and who can become a pick. And when we were talking about that, I'm not surprised somebody jumped in on the chat line. Lizzie's, I saw you chatting with them. Lake. We're scared of Lake. Where is she? Could she be a vice presidential candidate?
I would say she's too much of a lightning rod.
She is very much a lightning rod.
And I think she's involved in that.
What about Nikki Haley?
Yes, brother.
No.
Preach, baby. Preach.
I'm just asking.
I know Nikki Haley and Donald Trump.
That's a good point.
They hate each other.
They hate each other.
Well, I think I'm thinking DeSantis and Haley is what it would be.
That could work. Those two could get along.
Maybe.
I didn't even think about that.
I wasn't thinking with Trump. I was thinking with
I was thinking with Trump.
No.
I was thinking with Trump.
He's going to go someone stronger like Carrie Lake or Tulsi Gabbard.
So you think he's going to go freedom fighter kind of a thing?
Yep.
100%.
Really?
Dare we show
He won't go Nikki Haley.
Dare we show what appears to be older video of Ron DeSantis?
Yes. I was just thinking that.
Because Eric was not moved by this. And I don't know. I mean, we'll get time. We sent it to Scotty yesterday. He's got so many videos in his system. I don't even know if he can find it.
I think I have it up still.
Man, Nikki Haley is a pit bull, though, man, on the stage. She is sharp as a tack. And she would just.
I'd love to see her in a debate on a presidential stage.
Lord, she would make Kamala Harris feel like the bitch that she is.
Woo!
Oh, my God. It would be insane.
Do you want to show that video?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Ron DeSantis. Here he is. Is this the real Ron?
And is he establishment? That's my question.
You see that I've been recognized nationally as being somebody who would be different, who would be a leader, who could be somebody like a Paul Ryan.
Oh! Can you play it one more
again?
time?
Say those two words.
I would be somebody who would be different. I think you see that I've been recognized nationally as being somebody who would be different, who would be a leader, who could be somebody like a Paul Ryan.
Stop. Let me go here. Can I go, please?
Because you don't. Yeah, go.
Can I go?
Go.
Okay. I'm assuming this was recorded pre 2008, maybe 2000, somewhere in there.
I don't know. When.
Okay, so coming out of the era of Paul Ryan was taken over when what's his name, Boehner everybody hated
Richard
Boehner. Everybody hated, get out of here, and they brought this young kid in, and his name was Anyway, he brought in a new Speaker of the House. And this is a brand new congressman from the state of Florida who's looking up to this new Speaker of the House, so you got to look at the context of this video, okay? Please don't think that he is saying that he represents the views
now, can I give
Paul Ryan.
Can I give you the rebuttal?
Of course, I didn't expect anything less. Go.
Thank you. I really do believe that DeSantis is establishment. People are saying rhino on the comment line. I agree. I think he's a rhino. I think it does mean something because we've all known who Paul Ryan really is, and he's establishment. He's a rhino. Always has been. It's not like he just became one later on. And I think what we have to remember is that Trump, he's the devil we know. Whether you like him or not, he's the devil we know. We already know what amazing, phenomenal policies he's had, how much wonderful things he's done for this country, how he brought us out of the brink of going down the toilet. And DeSantis, we know what he's done in Florida, but I'll tell you what, anytime a politician, remember this, Trump's a businessman, DeSantis is a politician. Anytime you have a politician who is a governor or an attorney general or anyone in that ilk, and they want to climb the ladder and they want to become president, they're going to do everything they think they need to do to get the vote. And then once they become president, then we see that they were really establishment rhino all along.
Let's do this. Remember we said you have to be able to fill out a test and score at least 85 on the test to become part of our government jobs from this point forward. DeSantis would score 100. He's only based
on
a Harvard
what
grad.
He's done as a governor.
Harvard Law School.
He's basically check it out. I know that unfortunately with the word politician comes a lot of baggage. And whether you like to believe this or not, Trump was a politician. Yes, he was a businessman first, but he was the president of the United States, which makes him a politician. Trump would have scored a 15 out of 100, but
who cares?
But he would have run the country like a businessman. DeSantis would have scored 100 out of 100, and he'll run it, I think, similar to Trump.
But we don't know
See
that.
what I'm saying?
Trump is, like I said, Trump is the guy we know. We know what he did. We know what he's capable of.
Take a look at it.
I'm not convinced DeSantis would do the same thing as Trump has.
What do you think Trump? Oh, again, this is a serious question. I was thinking about this yesterday. I need a breakdown. Sometimes you have to play your own devil's advocate. Tell me the things that you think DeSantis would not do that Trump would.
I don't have. That's just it. I don't have the faintest clue.
I'm begging you because I really want to know what your opinion is.
But I already gave you my opinion.
So you don't know.
No one knows. That's in my entire point.
So no
one knows. It's the great unknown. Maybe he would be a phenomenal president. Maybe everything he's doing in Florida is just to get campaign money and votes so he could run for president. And then maybe he's being paid by McConnell and some of these other folks so that he can take over the nomination.
So let me go. Let me do this for you real fast. And I'll see if I can do this quickly, Vic. And then I'll ask your opinion. So if DeSantis is the president, first thing he's going to do, he's going to go turn the spigots back on. He's going to say that pipeline, let's go. The second thing he's going to do right after a coffee break is he's going to start building that damn wall. The wall is going to go up in a record amount of time. You thought that Operation Warp Speed was fast? Watch this Operation Southern Wall. Another thing he's going to do is he's going to come in there and he's going to take a look at taxes, and he's going to probably lower taxes, and he's going to take a look at the economy. He does have a track record of making the education system less critical race theory. He's going to probably take a look at that. If he has a super majority in the House and the Senate, he will get a lot of stuff through.
All speculation.
Hold on.
We already know what Trump would do. That's all speculation.
No, I'm only doing the low-hanging fruit stuff.
All speculation.
I'm only doing the low-hanging fruit stuff.
I am telling you.
Basic.
Now, what he might do that's bad, he might come out one day at a press conference with a couple of transgenders behind him and say, we want to protect these people's rights too. And that might piss off a person
Eric,
like you.
I'm telling you right now, DeSantis is a rhino. He is establishment. And if he ends up getting the nomination, he will never win against Trump.
Dun, dun, dun.
What a great way to set everything up. No, I wanted to watch you two go at it for that.
Do you like DeSantis or do you like Trump?
Yeah, I like them both.
Every single day we should do this. We should ask each other that same question and see where that little.
No. If he does declare for the presidency, then we're going to see them debate.
Trump will wipe the floor with him.
And there it is, Tabitha Hassel. By the way, this is cancelthisshow.com. You can catch us live Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and of course, all the time on our website at cancelthisshow.com, all of our original content and everything that goes up there. Coming up today at about 9:30, Ric Flair will be joining us live. Mr. Woo, of course. Ric's been making his way through the St. Louis area. They actually had bobblehead night for Ric Flair at the Blues game last week. So Ric is coming in to talk all about cancel culture, his new Woo Chews for his marijuana company, and of course, the incredible life that he's lived. Tabitha's going to ask him exactly what a nature boy is. I can't wait for that.
Wait a minute. What? Are you going to? Okay. We'll let her embarrass herself. Go.
I wore my Ric Flair shoes.
But I told you guys, it takes a lot for me to get starstruck because, 24 years in the news business, sports business, but I'm starstruck today. And I am not overdoing this because we've got Mr. Mike Yoder in studio. And I love law. And you guys know I love attorneys. Yes. And I love people who've committed their life to doing what they're doing. Mike has done that. Mike is arguably the best, or I'll call him one of the best constitutional attorneys in America. He's only won over, $7 million for his clients over the past few years. Basically, to give you an idea what he is, I talk about him being a constitutional attorney, constitutional litigation, civil rights, whistleblowing, and employment disputes. But his bio and accomplishments are so long, I have to read. I try to memorize everything, as you guys know. Listen to this so we give you an idea of who he is if you don't know already. Heck, Mike, Lizzie, our social media guru, was already friends with you. I had no idea.
On Facebook.
So he also, this is so important, was instrumental in blocking the Biden administration from terminating federal employees who submitted religious accommodation requests. You remember that? Represented the United States military in their success in blocking the Department of Defense's vaccine mandate for all active duty service members. But it doesn't get there. He's also litigated successfully against Antifa, former Mayor de Blasio, Pritzker, Governor Cuomo, you name it. Antifa, Planned Parenthood, the list goes on and on and on. We'll get into it all. Mike, welcome to Cancel This today for the first time.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in rural central Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
I was adopted at 2 days old and moved from outside of the suburbs of Chicago in a small town in Indiana. I moved there when I was about 5, and my parents, lower income family, and we moved to Central PA so my dad could be home more than traveling, and sort of grew up in the farmlands, the woods, not too much going on where I'm from.
Well, we're going to get into so many things with you. I'm curious, where'd you go to law school? Because so much success in such a short amount of time in your career.
The cheapest place I could get into.
I love
St. Charles Community College.
That wasn't a community college. But no, I went to Elon University.
I'm familiar with Elon.
So the undergrad is a phenomenal school. The law school was new at the time, and they threw a lot of money my way. And I just said, okay, can I sit for the bar? That's all I really care about. I can figure it out. The law, it's literally words on a page, so it doesn't really matter where I go. I can comprehend things.
Being a lawyer is like getting in the NFL, isn't it? It's like once you get past the bar, you're part of the club. It doesn't matter what your background is. It's now you are in, and you get to prove yourself in that career.
Yeah, I would just say that there's a massive rookie roster.
Okay.
That's a great analogy.
All right.
It is. Talking with Mike Yoder, a constitutional attorney. I've become familiar with you on Instagram because you've only got 200,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, what's up with that?
And I started to learn and study when I do my research, and you were friends with a lot of people that I'm friends with. And I'm like, oh, this guy is really good. And then I saw you start to break down the Trump situation, the alleged indictment, and if it's coming. Could you kind of set the stage on what this whole situation has been, what we have seen since the weekend when all of this kind of hit the airwaves, so to speak?
So a good rule of thumb in politics, and I was in Washington, D.C. for 6 years. I worked in a lot of political capacities as well as litigation and working as an attorney there. But whenever you see the media talking about something, that means just don't really pay attention to it and look at something else, because nothing the media is talking about is particularly the nucleus of what the problem is. So obviously right now we're familiar with all the, SVB bank going down. We're looking at all the banks crashing, all the planes converging in Omaha, Nebraska with the senior VPs and execs, as well as the White House, which hasn't happened for what now? over a decade. Last time it happened was 2008. So you can do the math.
Right.
They're doing that. Meanwhile, Alvin Bragg, who's a Soros-funded DA, is bringing up these bogus charges that are, I mean, I don't want to say that they're not worth the weight of paper they're written on, but the point of the matter is that the two distinctions I think a lot of people are missing are, one, I keep having people cite, Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, which is the extradition clause. That's federal, not state. So that's the first distinction. And the second thing is that people are conflating the actual undertone of the charge with guilt. And I've seen that a lot as an attorney, and I'm only a civil lawyer. I don't do criminal defense or anything like that. But I see so often where a charge gets dropped or an indictment comes down and people are not familiar with the grand jury process. They're not familiar with what that means. They're not familiar with burdens of proof.
Yeah.
And then they get hit with a charge and you're essentially guilty until proven innocent. And you can't prove a negative. That's sort of the way that our system is operating, as opposed to how it should be, which is guilty or innocent until proven guilty.
How do we fix that? I have to know, because you're absolutely right. It's like, even if Alvin Bragg loses this thing in court, they have the talking points in a political arena at that point, right? It's like, well, we brought the charges. We showed you that he was guilty, but the court didn't see it that way. And now all of a sudden it ties him politically to this thing, and they can use it against him in the PR capacity. But you're right. Guilty till proven innocent.
Well, I mean, the first thing is education. I mean, we always talk about exercising your rights. Well, how the hell are you going to do that if you don't even know them? And that's the first step. But the other thing too is, people are saying, oh, well, tax evasion and things of that nature. Well, first, getting into the facts of it, one of the issues is that the $50,000 a month retainer that Cohen was on, which is pretty standard for a lot of industries, a lot of businesses, high professionals, paying $50,000 for a lawyer is nothing.
Yeah.
So paying him that money, what they're claiming is that funding was in regard to being listed and categorized as a campaign expense as opposed to an income expense. So they're saying that it was used for a tax benefit purpose, or alternatively, it was a campaign expense he didn't disclose. So it's a catch-22. If you have a lawyer as a person or as a candidate, it's going to be one of those two expenses.
But is it all a diversion? I mean, does any of this really matter? I mean, our country's on fire. We're heading the way of Venezuela. Is it just a media distraction?
I mean, until I see someone from Epstein's list indicted, I don't want to talk about this.
Wow. Good point.
Because 100%.
The children that were abused by
that's right,
predator, the people that facilitated it. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person I've ever seen convicted of conspiracy without a co-conspirator. So
yeah, this country's never seen anything like
why
that.
is it
Probably
heinous?
will never see anything like that again. And it's still ongoing.
I got to ask you this. You're in the game. I'm not. But why do you think that something that's as egregious, a little black book, why don't we have a website with all the people in that black book, and it's funded by the DOJ, and it can say this guy was in the black book? Is it because we're trying to protect them because they haven't been accused of anything criminally yet? Or why is that?
I don't know why they're trying to protect Epstein. The only thing I can say is that we know Trump wasn't on that list because it hasn't been leaked.
Very true.
The notion of the allegations as to who has been on that list are pretty devastating if true. I'm not going to opine as to whether that is accurate or not, but the fact that no one wants to talk about it means everyone should be talking about it.
That's right.
Including the judges and the prosecutors and the media. And I'm just wondering.
The media will never talk about it.
Yeah, but
they will never talk about it.
I mean, the whole media situation with Trump. I mean, I'd love to tie that situation up. Where do you see this going in the next few days? Because it doesn't sound like there's any case to stand on. It sounds to me like if it's even brought before a judge, it gets tossed.
Well, I mean, the first thing is that, you have to remember it's a catch-22, like I was saying earlier, where it's either he disclosed the expense as a personal expense on a $50,000 retainer, and then they're going to claim that he violated FEC regs. If he used Cohen in an official capacity for his campaign on a $50,000 a month retainer, then they're going to claim that by disclosing it through the FEC, he committed tax evasion and didn't file it with his personal income on his tax returns for the IRS. So he's either going to get hit by the IRS or the FEC. The problem with the district attorney bringing that charge in New York is, one, they're probably going to only be able to hit him on New York state taxes because he's not a U.S. attorney.
Right.
So prosecuting something under the U.S. code is out of his
jurisdiction.
Yeah. So The problem that they're also running into is that they're claiming that he falsified the business records and then he did it to gain a campaign expenditure. The other angle that they're talking about is the $130,000 that was allegedly paid to Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
That whole situation, even if the money was paid, it's an intent-based crime.
Right.
It means that, like, the mens rea, which is the Latin phrasing for mental state, you have to be able to prove as a prosecutor beyond a reasonable doubt.
Amen.
The mental state was that Trump had knowledge and awareness of that transaction occurring with the intent that transaction be used not only to silence her, but to silence her for the benefit of mounting a formidable campaign. Now, Trump has been painted a narcissistic egomaniac for the last 8 years. So they're going to have to overcome their own burden, which is, you guys have said this guy is a narcissistic ego nut job. So what makes you think that he wouldn't have just buried that story for his own personal reputation, not for his campaign?
And you have Michael Cohen's own lawyer coming out on the stand. I think it was yesterday or the day before, that said, you can't trust this guy. I can tell you right now, I have email after email after email saying that Trump did nothing wrong. Did you see that part of the story? There's literally correspondence that says, I need to ask you a question. What did you have on Trump so that we can get you off of these charges? He goes, I have nothing.
Well,
so he literally almost admits that Trump did nothing in his correspondence with his other lawyer.
I mean, their star witness lied to Congress, so that's used as
yeah.
I mean, and that's what you can use that as evidence to impeach his credibility. Yeah. And so you have someone that can be impeached for lying to Congress. You have a former washed up porn star. You have a creepy porn lawyer who I even wrecked on social media when he went to jail. He wanted to compare resumes with me back in 2019.
Oh my God.
And I saved those DMs.
What?
Evanetti, was that his name? Evanetti?
Yeah, Michael Evanetti.
Well, he's from
by
St.
the
Louis,
way, he's
right?
a St. Louis guy. Isn't he doing time now?
Yeah, he's in California.
14 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got into it on Twitter because I made like a short joke about him or something.
Yeah.
And I had like 2,000 followers at the time. And like he had 800,000. I'm like, you have a problem, man. Like, why are you even, first off, how did you even see this?
Yeah.
Like, you must have like a visibility filter on for like short jokes. And it just triggered him. And I'm like, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
And like, he went off on me, started sending me DMs like, you're a nobody. I'll compare resumes with you anytime.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I saved that until he went to jail. And then I was just like, what's your inmate ID and mailing address?
Hey,
I'd like to compare resumes.
We're talking with Mike Yoder, one of the best constitutional attorneys in America. He's DC based in the St. Louis area today. Mike, did your wife pick that sweatshirt out for you, or is that all
it's
your
getting
own?
a lot of attention.
I love it.
Love it.
Getting a lot of attention.
I actually
Wife Gabby's in studio with us today.
I actually
too,
picked
just
it out
not on camera.
myself.
What store sells something that cool so we can tell everybody to go there?
Oh, it's got to be a secret.
Okay.
He doesn't want
This is my
everyone.
signature.
He's
Look
going to
now.
market it himself.
Doesn't
This
want
is my
everyone to wear
signature
it.
now.
All right.
Hey.
Cool. I'll buy a couple.
Tabitha, we finally found somebody. Tabitha's always like, listen, you need to fight. You need to stand up for what you believe in. When we sit back as Americans in this comfortable lifestyle we have, when we sit back as humans and don't do anything, the other side is certainly coming after you and taking what they can take. With that being said, I first heard the term Antifa from Tabitha and RevCom several years ago when we were doing radio. And I was like, Antifa, what is Antifa?
It's a band coming out.
Yeah, exactly. What exactly have you had to deal with Antifa with over the years?
So the lawsuit I was talking about, and this was funny. I'm glad you actually brought this up because so many people are like, you can't sue Antifa. You're a liar, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I promise you I can. There's a statute under the Oregon Code, section 14.030, that allows you to sue an unaffiliated organization. It's an older statute from the late 1800s that was dealing with a lot of gang violence on the West Coast, where gangs, the Bloods and Crips don't go and incorporate with the state.
Good
and
point.
The Secretary Register, but they're identifiable based on common characteristics, visibility, common mission, common statements. They're identifiable based, blue, red, whatever may be. Same thing back in the late 1800s with gangs. That statute had never been repealed. So I made the argument that I could sue Antifa even though they're an unaffiliated organization because they identify under the same thing, which is Black Bloc. They have the same common mission or purpose.
Right.
They're banded together publicly in a manner in which the corporate registration is not going to make them singularly identifiable in a different manner.
Yeah.
And then some one of those like twerps. I call it like the band All American Rejects. That's what always comes to mind whenever I think of Antifa. It's always like the kids that didn't get dressed for gym class. And,
Okay.
like,
But that's a great band.
That's just,
You're taking me back to you. That's a great band.
I'm just talking about
it's not. But anyway,
Stop it.
here's the deal.
I call Antifa the Democrat foot soldiers, and our conservative foot soldiers are the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. And guess where they're at? They're in prison.
I mean, I think that I'm all for freedom of speech as long as you exercise it within the confines of the law. I mean, Chris Cuomo unfortunately didn't read the First Amendment before he asked, where does it say you have to be peaceful when you protest? And it does say the word peaceable literally in the text of that First Amendment. But I mean, maybe it was the fact that it said peaceable and not peacefully. And he
define what's peaceable then.
I mean,
We are peaceful. It's them creating violence against us. But we can't be complacent. I argue with Eric a lot. We go back and forth, because it's true. We, as conservatives, we're very complacent. We're not getting out. We're not fighting, but we have to. If we don't start fighting
here's my
fire
argument.
with fire, we're going to lose our country.
Here's my argument, counselor. I feel like the Democrats, the George Soroses, the Antifas, they have for the last 5, 6, 7 years done a fantastic job of setting traps all over the place. January 6th, that was a trap. No doubt about it. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, they are fighters.
They're fighters. They know how to set traps. They know how to play they play whitey ball. They don't want to try to put one over the fence. They do a lot of singles here and there. And
but they do that to intimidate us, and we can't fall for it. That's my point.
They do stuff in the cloak of darkness. Antifa is a great. How do they fund Antifa? How do they fund these kids to dress in all black and go to Georgia and protest? I've never understood that. I'm like, that is so gangster. It's unbelievable. Do they have a bank account?
Well, that was part of the angle I was taking with my lawsuit, and I failed it under a battery claim. Because Andy, if you guys remember the journalist that got hit with like the milkshake that the cement and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The lawsuit about. And they have this thing that's called slapping strategic lawsuit against public participation. So there's this law, there's a strong anti-slap law in California and New York. Oregon adopted effectively California's anti-slap defense, which means even if what you're alleging constitutes a legitimate claim under the First Amendment as a violation, you can't bring that claim if you're using it for essentially for lawfare. It's a law. It's to prevent people from filing lawsuits with the intent of using them maliciously as a sword to chill someone else's engagement in free speech. So they wanted to bring that defense. I brought it under battery. I'm like, this has nothing to do with what you said. You literally hit him in the head with a milkshake and gave him a brain hemorrhage
on camera.
And my first move was going to be wanting to subpoena the bank records.
Yeah.
And they did not like that.
Why?
Well,
because
you know why.
You're going to see who exactly is funding
Who cares what they like? That's my whole point is why isn't the judicial system supposed to be under the cloak of a veil that they can't see what it's almost like if AI was the judge. AI, you should be able to plug into AI via what the inputs are and say, I need the bank records for this reason. And the judge should be able to sign off on that stuff. Are you feeling that you are in a battle against the judicial system when you do this stuff?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, and I tell people all the time, like, murder is illegal, doesn't stop anyone. The justice system is supposed to be blind, not stupid. And we run into that all the time where we're having to procedurally posture and figuring out which ways that we can take these cases and bring them in favorable. And when I say favorable, I literally mean fair jurisdictions.
Yeah.
When I first started practicing, I had a case in DC that was against the District of Columbia, against the Board of Elections, against the Office of Campaign Finance. I had a Democratic judge that was appointed by Obama. He was the most fair judge I've ever had. And this was pre-COVID. This was back in 2018. This case, the judge dismiss some of my claims. I disagree with that, but I at least could see, I'm like, I don't agree with you, but at least I can see the legal reasoning and the logic as to how you got to that conclusion. And it makes sense from a different angle. Obviously, I'm biased. I don't agree, but he didn't dismiss all my claims. I ended up routing the district for the statutory cap on damages for a settlement in that case. I had a very fair shake, even though he was an Obama appointed judge.
Right.
I never once had to look up what president appointed federal judges when I first started practicing.
Right.
Now, I can almost tell you the outcome based on who appointed the judge.
Okay.
And then you have cases that you're bringing in New York, you're bringing in California.
Because we have the Biden regime in charge.
Well, speaking of Biden, how were you able to have so much success in stopping the Biden administration from terminating federal employees when it came to mandates, when it came to the whole situation of bringing religious accommodations forward?
Well, I think from a philosophical standpoint, there's nothing more difficult than someone who does not care of any repercussions, in the sense that I'm not afraid to go up against them. I'm not confined by money. No one owns me. I've never
But
sold
you
out.
continue to have so much success.
I think the other part of it too is that I'm younger, and a lot of lawyers get set in their ways in a specific mechanism as to how you go through practicing, and they use templates and boilerplate language and cookie cutter things. And if they don't know how to do something that's novel, they don't carve their teeth. They don't want to dive into this new entrenched, unexplored realm of law, and they're trying to treat these cases so much more so as the good old days where you file the lawsuit, they call you, they make an offer, you go back and forth, the defense bills out a little bit, then they throw you an offer or throw you a bone and you settle. This is not litigation. This is literal lawfare. It's literally using lawsuits as
weapons.
Warfare. And the way that they do that is they either try to chill it with passing legislation or regulations that eviscerate your rights. And the only way you can get back into that is by taking a novel and new approach to it. And I don't know. I truly feel like God put me on the earth to do what I do. And I have a very unique understanding of the law, I guess. But I'm just tenacious. I mean,
well, it goes to be like using the law system as a weapon. I would think that
have you marketed that yet?
What?
Lawfare?
I was just going to say that. That's such a great word.
You need to market that somehow. I don't know if it's taken, but when you said that, it went boom.
Yeah, it made sense.
Eric's our marketing genius. As marketing.
Well, no, I agree.
But
I see through. I always thought that the Capone stuff was interesting. It's like you can't get him on what he really did, so let's go after him for taxes. You know what I mean? It's like.
By the way, Mike has experience with mafia in Italy as well.
Well,
I mean, what hasn't he done?
Yeah. It's like if you can't get them for what you want to get them on, we'll do something else. A lot of people can't afford $200,000 law fees, so let's get them in the system so we can bankrupt them. That's what they did with General Flynn, correct?
Well, with General Flynn was an entirely different situation. I mean, with Flynn, they even went all the way to the point of waiting for his son to have his child born, and 3 days later threatened to indict Michael Flynn Jr. That's why Flynn pled guilty. And I've never seen such a miscarriage of justice as when Sullivan refused to adhere to the DC Circuit's order telling him to reverse or vacate the guilty plea. They had to fight that. It went up on appeal to the circuit, and then they had to go back and do a per curiam, which means the whole board. So typically with circuit courts, for those that don't know, you have 3 judges selected from a federal circuit, and then per curiam means that you bring back the entire panel within that same circuit, which is very, very, very rare to even get them to hear something per curiam, because it's literally saying, yes, I'm willing to get on the bench, put it on permanent record in the history of the United States that I'm literally calling out the guy sitting next to me as being wrong.
Yeah.
Because all you are equal judges, yet there's 3 of you were so vehemently wrong that it's dividing of that.
How do we remedy that? Because it seems like it sucks to be you. If I'm the government and I can bankrupt you in a way that doesn't put you, incarcerate you. That's as much of a weapon as anything else. How do we? Is it the judge that has to say, before I make this guy pay $100,000 in legal fees, I need to know why I'm doing that? I mean, you see, it seems like there needs to be some barrier or some check, some balance to protect the guy that's about to go through what Flynn went through.
I mean, the paying the $100,000 in legal fees, I think is, using Flynn might be not the best example, because you still have a fundamental right to having representation and counsel in the criminal system. You're right to a public.
But didn't he have to get rid of houses and move and all this stuff? I mean, he had to uproot.
Those are the
life.
repercussions. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of that was safety related. I mean, if you want a good lawyer, you're not going to go with the public defender. Mm-hmm. I mean, and smaller crimes, having a public defender is actually better if it's like a DUI, something small like misdemeanor, state court level stuff, because they're the ones that know the DAs, the judges. They can wheel and deal better than this out of state bigwig. But with Flynn, he had Sidney Powell, who did a phenomenal job representing him all the way up through the hearing. And then she, in my opinion, found out that fame is sort of like heroin. Once you get addicted to it, you can't get off of it. And then that's where it goes from phenomenally and eloquently representing Flynn in an extremely well done capacity.
Yeah.
And that just snowballed into release the Kraken. I mean,
too many encores. Too many encores.
Yeah, it's like like you're relevant until you're not, and then some people just don't like when they become irrelevant. Frankly, I'd love to be unknown or anonymous because I just want to go about my day and live my life. But I don't think that we fix the system from the standpoint of there's like a solution. I think it's a culture issue as opposed to an answer that can be legislated or litigated.
Oh, that sucks.
Because America is losing the culture battle. And one of the heaviest weighted factors the Supreme Court considers in making decisions in their cases is culture. When you say a fundamental right, no one ever questions, well, what is the basis or what metric do we use to determine in America what is fundamental? And it's culture. It's what our society views as acceptable. I mean, homosexuality was criminalized in Texas until 2003 in Lawrence v. Texas. That case overturned Bowers v. Hardwick, which was a prior case in the 80s where they declined to rule that homosexuality, the criminalization of that could be what they said, yeah, you can criminalize it. That's not unconstitutional. That flips. Same thing with gay marriage. So look what they're doing now with the trans agenda, with transgender. Now they're moving it into trans ageism. They want to essentially destroy any societal norms. And I think, in my opinion, that's the product of a godless society. Once you take God out of the society or out of a culture, you have
out of school, as I say all the time here.
Well, I mean, public schools, technically they're supposed to have the separation of church and state, which and I will respect that to the extent that it exists. But it's, again, it's almost a facade of what's in reality, because if they want to have separation of church and state, then why do you need to get a marriage license to be
Speaking
married?
of church and state, you want to comment on the Stanford kids that were trying to break down the First Amendment, where you had a federal judge sitting right there trying to just speak to these kids? That's your profession. I mean, this is the next generation of lawyers coming out of the best law school on the planet, apparently.
I mean, I don't know if Stanford's a public or private school or not. I mean, if they're on a private campus, it's
kind of one of the other, because California has weird tuition laws. So it's kind of private, kind of public, but it is one of the best law schools. And you had you had the administration going after him. You had the kids going after him. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Speech is fundamental to your profession, to being a lawyer.
Yeah. And I mean, I personally think it's more of a culture issue than it is a legal issue. The fact that we have to address the fact that people don't know how to respect elders or respect people that are in a profession. I mean, imagine I can't even fathom the idea of being in law school, having a federal judge there, and then I stand up and berate them because my feelings are hurt because I'm just such a soy boy. I need to go home and have my seed oils and drink my oat milk. Like, you're going to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I will have a field day and mop the floor with those types of people. So welcome to the big leagues, buddy. I don't care where you went to law school. You're just going to get wrecked. Like, these types of people are so entitled.
Yeah.
It's all culture. It's all coddling. No one wants delayed gratification or earned gratification. It's all expected entitlement. And it's going to be a rude awakening once the two, ends of that collide.
And Mike, I want to go back to Antifa. And the reason why a lot of people don't understand that Antifa is one of the biggest threats we face in this country right now. And it's not about what happened on January 6th. It's not about what happens at protests. It's about the fact that we have these FBI reports and CIA reports that Antifa is actually a domestic terror organization. They are the ones potentially attacking power stations across the country. They are the group of people who are potentially derailing trains across the country. And there's a lot of evidence that points to this as being true. So how, in your lawsuit, what do you expect to come out of it? And if we can attack Antifa by lawsuits in the legal route, can we stop them?
So that law, I did file that lawsuit when I was previously with another firm. So I'm no longer working on that. I'm not sure if it's resolved by now or not. I know Harmeet Dillon is the one that's handling Andy No's case now, who's a phenomenal lawyer.
Mike's a DC based attorney, by the way, as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I practice all over the country, but I'm in DC. Harmeet is a phenomenal attorney. I worked under her for a while before opening up my own firm, so I can't comment as to the extent of where the lawsuit's presently at. But in the initial stages, and the relevant salient points of when I sued Antifa was just being able to sue them, the concept behind it, and then the objectives within that of protecting Andy and seeing where this funding was going. But Antifa, I believe, is a domestic terrorist organization. I believe that there are a lot of truths that will never see the light of day because the agenda that is being pitched is much more controlling, and we're probably not going to be able to reverse it because the cognitive dissonance is so strong. And in my opinion, shame is the number one most difficult emotion to grapple with. People can handle disappointment, sadness, anger, pain, but shame it makes you feel like you're literally dirty from the inside out when you look yourself in the mirror. And the people that were calling us grandma killers, the ones that severed ties with their family, that missed holidays, that wouldn't let their kids see their grandparents, the kids who now have speech impediments because their parents made them wear masks in school and they couldn't see facial or visual cues, the people that are educated that are so far behind in their academics, they did this for 2 or 3 years because they were so afraid of COVID because they bought the narrative. Those people have an immense impediment in being able to say, you know what, I was wrong, because you got played so hard that it's so hard to reconcile with yourself. How could you be so blindsided by something for so long and then act in such callous disregard of the rights and respect of others to the point where you're shaming them, you're screaming at them in stores. And I mean, I was like, you're a leper if you weren't vaccinated or weren't wearing a mask. And my whole thing, I kept asking people, I'm like, If you are so afraid of COVID that it brings you to tears and anger and screaming at me, and you have to get in my face, you're that mad. Where is your common sense? Because if I was that afraid of a virus, I'd run away from you.
Yes.
Yet you're coming up into my face. I mean, if masks work, why aren't they working? If vaccines work, why aren't they working? Oh, they're not. And then you're going to still fall on that hill.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long overhaul to get out of what it's like MK Ultra 2.0. It didn't work the first time, but sure as hell did the second.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think
Well, liberalism is a mental illness. In my opinion.
It's not a mental.
No,
it's a
mental illness.
brainwashing of sorts, and I think that the mask was the flag, Democratic flag, and it just proved that they believed everything they were hearing. Trump bad, mask good, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that conservatives, and the problem I have is conservatives are very different. I'm different from her. I'm different from him. Conservatives, they have a wider bandwidth of what they think, and
That's because you call yourself a libertarian.
I don't call myself any. I just
Remember,
think
we were
that
going to get you a sign.
Democrats, they
I'm
walk
Libertarian
lockstep,
Eric.
right? They walk lockstep. Conservatives are like, they don't have any kind of agenda. It's just like they did their research with the whole COVID thing. And they basically said, I think I'm okay if I got the disease. I think my immune system is going to be able to handle this. I'm really sick of wearing this mask. And that was the thing. In your profession, do you find that the liberals, you're fighting against not just one liberal ideology, but everybody is coming at you? You know what I mean? Do you see the Army-ian approach to the Democrats from the vantage point that you have?
I mean, I think a lot of it is this. It's the same tactics from a litigation standpoint, which is just deny, block. As soon as you take down the barricades, they just cease doing what they're doing and try to make it go away, create a media storm over something else, and then they go do something else. I mean, what their whole game is they will strategize, prepare, and it's almost like remember when Juul came out, they took over 7-Eleven like overnight. Like every 7-Eleven in America had mango Juul pods, and everyone's like, what the hell what is Juul?
Yeah.
That's what they do with litigation, where if they break the law, they just have it so ready to go, and they just dump it, and they start carrying it out full force. They just hit you full bore, and then as soon as they get caught, by the time you catch them, you get a lawsuit filed. They try to delay, block, and then they squeeze out the last little bit of whatever unlawful activities are going on, and then they fold.
Wow.
And then they go into something else, because when they do that, they moot the case. You can't seek relief anymore. And I've been arguing this whole time. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. Let's take that and make an analogy. If I'm a felon and I have a handgun and a cop pulls me over and I'm just like running down the street, he's chasing me, and I just take the gun and like, okay, fine. I throw it into the water. I'm like, hey, you can't charge me with felony possession anymore because I don't have the gun.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's the fact that but the problem is that if they stop doing it, no one wants to pay a lawyer to continue pursuing that, to hold them accountable, because they aren't doing it to you anymore, and no one wants to pay the lawyer. But the legal fees, the time, the effort, the extent of work that goes into holding them accountable for past actions requires it. And no one wants to fund that. No one wants to go into actually finishing the job, and they leave it wide open. And what happens time and time again with conservatives, and this is one of the things you were saying earlier with, Democrats being fighters and conservatives are complacent, we continually are gratuitous to a fault, where we walk into a fist fight. If I'm going to go to a fist fight that I agree to, I don't know if he's going to bring a gun or a knife, so I'm going to bring a gun. It's going to stay in my waistband. I'll fight by the rules, but doesn't mean I can't have a gun on me.
Right.
And then what happens is, as conservatives, that guy that you go to that fist fight with pulls a knife out. And then you say, well, the rules of the engagement were that we're going to fight with our hands. And then you lay on your back with your throat slit, wondering what happened to you.
And that's why
even though you had a gun.
I think it's more than that. I think conservatives have a bazooka and they never use the damn thing.
The good thing is Mike is using his bazooka,
yes, he is,
so to speak. And that's the best thing that we have. We got like 2 minutes left with you. I'm just curious if you could first let everybody know how they can find you. And then I want to know if there's anybody else like you that you see out there, because I pray nothing but safety, protection, and blessings over you and your family for what you're doing, because I can only imagine what people think about you when you're destroying them at these national levels.
Yeah, and people can find me on my website. It's yoderesq.com, YODERESQ. Same thing with social media, just underscore. So it's Yoder_ESQ on Twitter and Instagram. And I mean, right now,
You have a podcast too, don't you?
I did just start a podcast. That was probably not my wisest decision based on time management skills.
We'll come back to St. Louis.
Well,
We'll put you in a studio here.
I mean, thankfully, Gabby helps me out with a lot of the
Gabby, your wife.
And yeah, I mean, she's amazing. She's
here. Say this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I know. She has her own content that she puts out regularly too. So I'm very blessed in that regard. But yeah, I mean, Chad LaValia is a lawyer in New York who I work with. He took down the New York City mandate as well as the New York statewide mask mandate. He's the one that got the workers back with back pay. He's a phenomenal attorney that doesn't, in my opinion, get enough recognition for the work that he does. Very, very, very strong litigator. He and I work together on a lot of cases.
Nice.
There's about 32 of them. There's a list on one of my Instagram posts that I listed out like 32 lawyers that fought with the military mandates. And there was a couple names I missed, obviously, but there's less than 50 lawyers in the entire country that are taking on.
Have you talked to Al Watkins about the
He
shaman?
doesn't know who Al Watkins is.
Do you know the shaman? The shaman, the guy that, for January 6th, the guy, the horns.
Oh, yeah.
We got the lawyer. You should talk to him.
He's represented in St. Louis. He's represented by Al Watkins' attorney.
Yeah.
Oh,
we need to
okay.
get you guys together.
Hey, Mike,
and I'll just sit there with a latte listening to you guys talk.
I'm grateful for you taking time to stop by the studio today, my man. For seriously, you're a hero. Continue the good fight. If we can help out in any way, let us know. I knew you'd blow up our chat line. As you did.
No doubt.
And people love you. They love your sweatshirt. They love your story. And they love your fight. So thanks again for joining us on canceltheshow.com.
Not a problem at all.
rock,
Thank you
man.
guys for having me. And next time I'm back out here, I'll let you guys know how I found a way through the PrEP Act. I'm being able to hold liability against manufacturers for the vaccine for death and injury.
Moderna's going out of business, aren't they?
I'll be dropping that in a couple
Yes!
weeks. So
Yes!
I have the lawsuit together. It took me 9 months,
Yes.
but I have it finally together. So we're going to start getting some justice for those that were injured or died because of the vaccine.
See if you can get
Excellent.
Fauci's house while you're at it.
I want Fauci's head.
A lot of people feel the same way.
Hey, Mike, thanks again, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you,
Mike Yoder, one of the best constitutional attorneys
hands down.
in America, just completely blew our audience away today from that standpoint. We're getting ready in just a couple of minutes. We got Ric Flair coming on. We go from Mike to Rick and two of the best in the businesses that they deal with. Once again, it's one of those things, so much we could talk to you about, but it blew me away. Do we have time to take a quick break, Scotty? We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with Ric Flair. Share the show. Back with more right after this.
Have you ever heard of a use tax? Well, it's just another name for sales tax that may be paid on a purchase from Amazon or any out-of-state seller. Until recently, out-of-state sellers didn't have to collect the same tax as our local stores. But recently, the Missouri legislature voted to give our state its portion. Now Chesterfield voters must approve the law to get our city portion. Vote yes on Prop U to support our local stores and help our city pay for police, parks, and streets. Paid for by Citizens for Chesterfield's Future, Gerald Wright, Treasurer.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
White Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car, hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Attention all foodies in the St. Louis area. Are you tired of bland, boring food that lacks flavor? look no further than Pixie Dust Seasoning. That's Pixy. Pixie Dust Seasoning is a healthy, low-sodium brand with sugar-free options. We've sprinkled a little magic into every bottle so you can enjoy delicious, flavorful meals without the guilt. Pixie Dust Seasoning can be found in all Fresh Time locations and select Schnuck stores in the St. Louis market. If you can't make it to the store, don't worry. You can find us online at www.pixiedustseasoning.com. So what are you waiting for? Add a little magic to your meals with Pixie Dust Seasoning. Our tagline says it all. Sprinkle a little magic. Try it today.
And when you visit the site, be sure to use the code name Vic so they know you came from cancelthisshow.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Hey guys, welcome back into the show. Cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tap of the Hassle, Eric Johnson, and Scotty Gherkin, our producer, engineer extraordinaire. By the way, love talking with Mike Yoder, and a shout out to Andy Frisella and the guys over at First Form. Go figure, Mike is actually good friends with Andy. They had dinner last night, and he's going to do Andy's podcast. And of course, Andy's the godfather of podcasts.
I love that.
Andy's in the Hall of Fame as he does his thing in a massive way around the country. So I'm not surprised and grateful that Andy let Mike do our podcast. I mean, there's guys out there that can big time people, and Andy is not one of them.
He's not. And you know what's so great about
Andy? Thank you. Andy, thank you. Andy, Chris Klein, Sal, the whole group out there, thank you for allowing us to have Mike on the show.
And they allowed us to tour, or you to tour their studio before we even got started here.
Yeah, it's where the advent of this all came about, that's for sure. Hey, we go from one massive guest, he's one of the best constitutional attorneys in America, that was Mike Yoder, to arguably the best and most entertaining wrestler, entertainer, personality that we have ever seen. The Ric Flair. I mean, it's not everybody that gets their own bobblehead night at the St. Louis Blues after they've had an illustrious career. Rick, welcome into cancelthisshow.com, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're got a lot to talk to you about. First of all, the name, Cancel This. A little birdie told me you're not all into the cancel culture wokeism that our country is bending over to right now.
Oh, no, I definitely am not.
What do you see from that standpoint? I mean, do you watch news headlines and go, oh my God, are you kidding me?
No, I've just almost become immune to it. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I wish there was more positive thought processes, and less there were people with more positive thought process instead of always looking for something negative.
Well, that's so true. I mean, so Rick, here's the deal, man. We on this show talk about the eras that we lived in, the 60s, the 70s. I'm an 80s guy. I remember being in the 80s and a little kid and laying on my apartment floor where we lived in Creve Coeur, Missouri, and boom, Wrestling at the Chase comes on. And I just remember that as a time that finally of an era that we all lived in together. And it was like, I try to tell these two how much better it was in the 70s. Can you speak to, because I always think of you as a St. Louis guy, like you and Sammy Hagar are St. Louis guys to me, because I saw you so much as a kid. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the Wrestling at the Chase and that experience just a little bit here in St. Louis, Missouri?
Oh, it was incredible. It was, I think it was the highest rated TV show in the country at that time.
It was.
Was that the beginning of the WWE, kind of, in your opinion? I mean, was that
No,
kind
no,
of
no, 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 no. Totally two different organizations. Back then, they were the WWF, and they were basically a 5 or 6 state promotion. The NWA traveled all over the world.
Rick, what exactly is a nature boy?
I don't want to get canceled.
You see the chili peppers with the socks? There you go.
Oh my God, that's
I like
funny.
that.
That's exactly
Yeah,
it.
you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, as you joined us this morning here on Cancel This, we've seen you all around St. Louis. We've seen you around the country.
Mhm.
I mean, you've been an entertainer and an athlete for a very, very long time. With that being said, how do you think you've been able to maintain this popularity that you've had?
Well, a lot of it, I get asked that question a lot, and I really don't know how. I think that I have been able to make the adjustments in thought process, and instead of seeing anything negative in the growth of wrestling, which is just at an all-time high right now, a lot of the old timers could never get with it. And I mean, they didn't understand the word sports entertainment in the 70s and 80s wasn't even feasible when it came to wrestling.
Right.
And the guys would be in fights on the landing in East St. Louis all night long over
Yes.
over any insinuation of it not being 100% legit. So, but I mean, I've just been able to roll with it. I mean, I didn't dig it at first, but it is sports entertainment, and as long as the people pay us the respect, which they do, of how difficult it is, that not only the in-ring performance, but the travel schedule, which is, different than when I had the championship. But basically, if you're working on top in the WWE and to the 20 plus performers that would be their top guys, or maybe 30, I would say more like 20 that are really in demand all the time for stuff like this. When they're home, they're working. In other words, they're promoting shows for the future. They're, especially this time of the year with WrestleMania coming up next week.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think
I know when my daughter is not in the gym, she's doing PR.
Yeah.
For the company. When she's not wrestling, she's doing PR for the company.
I think that
but the reward is fantastic, and I think that all those top stars and my daughter included realize that goes with the glory.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and being in demand is not a bad thing.
No, it's not. Don't you think that it's basically this, is that there's so many, they churn out so many of these new guys that, hit the gym, they look good, but you guys are the legacy of this entire sport. And I remember you come from an era where we actually were trying to figure out if pro wrestling at the Chase was fake or if it was real. Do you remember that era?
Absolutely.
It was like Kiss Alive. It was like Kiss Unmasked. It's like, what do they look like without the makeup on? It was an era when you guys did a really good job fooling us, and now it is a soap opera. So I think that
but it's you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's still we have, I would say, 6 people with broken necks in the last 5 years.
Oh,
really?
So, yeah, not totally paralyzed, but in the last 10 years, oh my gosh, Edge had a broken neck. Steve Austin got a broken neck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go on the list.
We've
had some people with serious injuries.
Yeah,
that's a shame, because it was such a unique era of time. I can't imagine anything else like it, or anything else that even compares to it. And I know people here in St. Louis, they're trying to bring wrestling back. Do you think we will ever see another era like it once was?
You mean at Wrestling at the Chase? Is that what you
they're
mean?
trying to bring it back?
Yeah.
Well, I was at the Chase for an event with the NWA. St. Louis was our Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
With NWA, New York being their place, and St. Louis was ours. And I loved coming there, but Friday night at the Keel or the Checker Dome, the old Checker Dome, which held 19,000.
Yep.
Sold it out with Brody, sold it out with Dick the Bruiser, Harley, Dusty Rhodes, Gary Von Erich. I mean, that was the Mecca for me. And the fans were as wild and enthusiastic in St. Louis as anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And coming out of that Kiel Auditorium on a Friday night, kids throwing ice balls at you. People had to fight your way to your car. Seriously, it was a rough crowd.
It's rough now.
Yeah, Rick, you've turned yourself, not only the career that you've had, but you've turned yourself into a businessman over the years as well. Mm-hmm. Part of that, we understand you have a marijuana company, and is it true you actually have a gummy called the Woo Chew?
Yep, comes out next week.
Oh my God! Okay,
Okay, all right. Wait a minute.
The Woo Chew.
Explain what the Woo Chew is. What does it do, and how do I get it?
It's an edible that relaxes you. As an example, for me, in 1989, I started taking Xanax. So how many years is it till 2 years?
30, more than 30.
Yeah, 31, say for 31 or 2 years, I took Xanax. Just one a day, every night.
Yeah, pharmaceutical.
I got off it a couple of times, but then I would get back on it. And now with the edibles, I've just, like, you have to do it gradually, of course. I'm not suggesting anybody just stop taking Xanax, because it don't work like that. That can put you in a withdrawal situation, but you just have to do it gradually. And then the edibles, and everything again is in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xanax is such
always
a
the word
drug.
moderation. What's that?
Xanax is such an addictive drug. It's great that you have an alternative to something like that.
Yeah, no kidding. When I was in rehab, they got me off it, but it was easy to get back on again.
Yeah, no kidding.
But now these edibles are just fantastic, and boy, you'll never sleep as well. I guarantee.
Given my lack of knowledge, Rick, can people purchase those out of state, or is that only in a certain state? Can people get your Woo Chews?
Good question.
As of the 20th of April, they'll be able to buy them in Missouri.
Where?
Oh, yeah. Do you know how yet, or is there somebody we can talk to about how we can?
Oh, they'll be in cannabis outlets.
Oh, all of the outlets. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Woo Chew.
That's right. Cancel this. Brought to you by Woo Chew.
Yeah. No, I don't know whether that is with a medical card or not yet. I haven't.
We'll ask Scotty. He's our resident CBD guy over here.
Yeah.
He does.
Rick, do you get into politics at all? Do you ever talk politics? I know as an entertainer you weren't allowed to, really.
I know a lot about politics. I do, but I don't talk about them. Why?
Really? See, Rick, I'm a big believer, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hollywood has all of their actors talking their side. I believe the only way to get this country back is to have guys like you get up and say, hey, you know what? Truth to power. Do you think that that's kind of accurate too? Would you like to see more celebrities say, you know what's going on in this country is just wrong?
I'm not even answering that question.
Yeah.
Come on,
Good
please.
for you.
They shouldn't say it. Celebrities shouldn't say anything. Just do them.
Listen, look at the name of your show.
Good point, touche.
I'm not even going to respond to that question because that's how you get in trouble.
Yeah, it'll be on TikTok.
All I can tell you is that Tucker Carlson calls me every week to be on this show when I find a reason not to do it.
Really?
Have you never been on Tucker?
No, I have not. I'm not going to anytime soon.
That tells us everything we need to know if we just read between the lines.
Yeah, I watch all that stuff, but I keep my mouth shut. I just have learned.
Hey, well, you've become friends with Kevin Malutnik.
Listen, I can't. I have obviously people that work for me that handle my social media. And sometimes I see stuff on TV or watch it, and I don't know how to post, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
If I've had some drinks and I see something I don't like,
You'll be the next Donald Trump, is what will happen.
then I have to call someone with some rationale before I open my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rick, you've really defied odds when it comes to a health standpoint. I've heard interviews with you. I've seen your biography. It's one of the more fascinating stories that people have in life. Do you consider yourself blessed right now to look as healthy and be as healthy as you are after everything you've done over the years?
Every minute of every day. Make no mistake.
So who was
people don't think this or realize this about me because I don't preach, but I know that God is watching over me. Because God, I mean, I should be dead, crashing an airplane, hit by lightning. And I spent, 13 days in a coma, 31 days in ICU. Then I had to learn how to walk and all that again. And here I am talking to you guys, having a good time, talking about St. Louis and Kennedy's and Oz and Pops and Landing. And,
oh my gosh, yeah, Kennedy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you make it out of East St. Louis, one piece, you're lucky as hell.
Rick,
I say that to this day. I should have never survived.
Rick was the one.
I've had the handcuffs on down there.
Me too. Me too. I have something in common with Ric Flair. Yeah.
Rick,
well, the handcuffs weren't on me, but I was out there when one of my friends was being handcuffed.
Rick, we could write a book. Tell everybody how awesome it was to walk out of Pops and seeing the sun come up. Wasn't that the best thing ever?
Yeah, but it was even better walking out of the Kennedys, man. I love that place.
That place is falling down now. We did so much damage to it.
I tried to. It's just a shame. Some of these cities have just changed so much over the years. But
yes,
that was such a fantastic area. The Landing, I loved it.
Yeah,
so it was a great period of time in general.
I could get a $6,000 payoff back in the 80s and get on a plane at 5 a.m. in the morning headed to Atlanta TV with $20.
The shots were expensive down in the Landing.
No, just having fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he did have to wait in line to see Phil Divine, by the way. I'm sure
that didn't happen very often, but I have had a bad night here and there.
Rick, you've had a lot of honors, and you've been put on a pedestal by many organizations at different things. It's a little self-serving for us because we're in St. Louis. But how cool was it to be honored by the Blues last week and get your own bobblehead?
Cool. Well,
I mean, not everybody gets that treatment.
Well, it's not just that. For me, it's the Car Shield people. They are the most phenomenal group of people I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to become family.
I've been adopted.
They are patriots for sure.
You guys just adopted
Nick and Mark, and of course Kevin, who you guys work with, and the whole gang. I'm not sure how they all got together, but Car Shield is a phenomenal company. They treat me like royalty, and I love working for them. And that's how the thing came about. I can't say enough about Nick Hamilton and Mark and Paul. I mean, everybody involved there. It's a family. It's a business, but they run it like it's a family. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Well, they're super successful, so they're doing something right.
Oh,
yeah. That's for sure.
They absolutely are.
And good products.
And getting on their private jet, that the Falcon 50.
It's not flying right now. I saw the engine. It's off of it right now. You don't want to get on that thing right this minute. I'm just kidding, Kevin. I'm just
kidding.
It's
right outside of our door.
It is.
It's pretty nice inside. Pretty sweet, isn't it?
It is.
They actually sent that to Tampa to get me one time. I said, "Are you kidding me? Why would I fly a commercial again?"
Yeah, the jet's not good enough. We have to do a custom interior.
Kevin flew me over to say anything to beat TSA in the airport. Kevin was kind enough to fly me over to Michigan to drop my cannabis line. So
nice.
Kevin is fantastic.
I have nothing but good thoughts and memories of St. Louis.
Hey, before we let you go today, Rick, I was told that you've got a relationship with The Rock that's pretty interesting, and people in St. Louis not only like him and respect him from the standpoint of his wrestling career, and of course, people know him from his acting, but he brought football back to St. Louis so that
38,000 people you guys had.
To show that it wasn't a issue with St. Louis not being fans, it was an issue with ownership. What is your relationship like with The Rock?
Well, I don't get to see him very often. The guy works harder than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's just one movie after another. But God, we're I spoke at his father's funeral, and when we see each other, it's like we're best friends. But I don't get to see him that often, and only because of distance and time. And he works. His work ethic is second to none. I mean, he literally is up at 6 a.m. no matter what he does, working out, getting ready, and then starting that long day of shooting and making great movies.
What was the rivalry that you remember the most in all of your years of wrestling? What was the guy that when you guys went at
Great question,
when you guys
Eric.
went at each other, you're like, this is going to be epic?
He lived in Kansas City, Missouri.
I know Harley Race, the king.
Yeah.
The baddest man alive, kids, make no mistake.
He didn't go after each other because they're really all just friends.
How did Andre the Giant?
You guys remember Tony Twist?
Heck yeah.
Tony Twist would have skated backwards rather than
You would have run away.
The Twister.
I wanted a 2-minute minor. Give me the penalty box.
Harley Race was an incredibly tough guy. He started
everywhere.
in the business at the age of 13, guys.
Wow.
Oh,
damn. 8th grade education and became one of the all-time greats and legendary, and a name that I'll remember forever because he made me.
Oh, wow.
Do you have the atomic knee drop?
He had it all.
He had it
I always
all.
tried to do the
and he loved being a world champion. He loved walking to Oz and Pops and punching people out. He loved it.
Could you imagine that?
Harley walk over to the pool table, and there were 20 quarters on it, knock all the quarters off, look at somebody and go, I got the winner.
It's like Patrick Swayze movie or something like that. How did Andre the Giant ever lose a match? That's what I always wondered. It's like, how could you beat Andre
Because it wasn't real.
Stop it.
Thanks for
I
screwing.
didn't know Andre ever lost a match. One time when Hulk slammed him, but
Yeah, that was it from that scene.
yeah, he had a really bad back at that time. So
yeah.
Nobody beat him when he was younger. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
and I've seen a lot of people try.
Hey, Rick, you brought up a lot of places you used to go to. I spent some childhood over in Belleville on the Metro East. There was a place called English's. Did you ever make it? Because I saw Andre the Giant come into English's one day, and I was like, "What the truck is that?" It was on Main Street in Belleville.
Oh wow,
English's.
And where?
Belleville, Illinois,
right across.
No, I've never been there. No.
Yeah, you never made it past Sauget.
Yeah, Brooklyn, Illinois. He went.
Yeah. No, Andre was a man and a half, guys.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, how often? I mean, how many times a day do you have to go? Woo!
As many times as it's asked of me, because that's how I make a living.
I'm sure that you have a million #1 fans all across the world, not just in this country. I've got a doctor right now, a Dr. Britton Eves in Shreveport, Louisiana, who's going, could Rick give me a shout out? Could he give me a woo to Dr. Eves?
How much is that?
Could you do it?
Dr. who?
Dr. Eves.
Spell it for me.
Eaves. Dr. Britton Eves.
Dr. Brittany Eves. Woo! From the next bar.
Shreveport, Louisiana.
Limousine riding, private jet flying. Kiss stealing and wheeling and dealing. And to this day, young lady having a hard time holding these alligators down. And I've kissed a lot of young ladies and made them cry.
The invoice is in the mail. I love it. That's amazing.
Rick, you're smiling, man. I hope you've had some fun with us this morning.
Oh, I did. You guys are great. Just don't try to cancel me. Goodbye.
You're the best. We see you, champ.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. We'll see you.
Kevin, I said I need a free plane. I need a ride in that Citation with the one pilot.
Well, I got him right here, Kevin. You just told Kevin.
Kevin, damn it all.
He's done. It's a done deal.
He's going to talk to you right now.
I got you, Rick.
Hey, and then make sure and fix me up with Morgan, will you? God damn it.
Morgan.
Morgan will be your flight attendant.
She's hard to get a hold of.
Yeah. We got a number. Get her
Hey,
on.
what woman says no to the Nature Boy? I mean, really?
Nobody. It's in the.
Hey, Rick, she's right here.
Me? What the hell?
You know I love you, Rick.
No, I don't. You told me you're off work at 5. I'll never hear from you again.
That must have been an awesome
You
night.
wake me up in the morning at 7 o'clock with a text. I know it. It's 6 a.m. I say, you're still there?
By the way, that's Morgan Hummel. Morgan works.
Morgan Hummel is correct.
Morgan works here at Strategic Air Services for those who don't know the voice.
And she is an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah.
And a beauty.
Well, let me just say that I thought the car shield people were faking me out. So I get off the private jet and Morgan's there and she goes, I'm here for whatever you want to do tonight. Okay.
Opportunities.
That's
Have you seen Morgan when she's tricked out.
Every morning. She's the most tricked out receptionist ever. It's amazing.
Send me a picture, will you? I can't get her to send me one.
Send her a picture. Do a Snapchat or
They
something.
could do a quick pic.
Come on, Morgan.
You take a pic and give it to. Hold on a second. I'll take care of it.
Or maybe you just need to come
Hey,
back
Morgan.
to us.
I'm with Kaylee. Come here.
Here, hold on. Come here, Morgan. Morgan, get in here.
Come here. I'm with Kaylee.
Hey, we're going to put her on
We're
camera.
going to deal with me.
Hey, Rick, we're going to put her on camera right now so you can say hi.
Hey,
Put on
Morgan
the
is supposed
headphones.
to be in Tampa Friday.
You are? Well, come up here.
You can come to St. Louis on Friday.
Say hi. Where's she at? Here, turn her microphone on, Scotty.
Morgan, what's up, girl? Come here.
Hey, Scotty, turn her mic on. There you go.
Morgan, damn it all. If you don't FaceTime me tonight, we're done.
Okay, I'll make it happen. I won't let you down.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
I love it.
Thank you for coming on.
That is Morgan right
Woo!
there. Yeah.
Morgan, you can stay all night, stay a little longer, dance all night.
One of the best songs ever made.
Yep.
Rick, when you get in town, man, we're going out. We're going to go to the old Stages stomping ground. We're going to have a blast. We're going to go have like Emo's Pizza 3
I'm not
times.
going anywhere unless Morgan's involved. Goodbye.
Morgan said she's going with us.
I'll be there.
It's all good.
Well, we were trying to get her there for you. Now we got Scotty's got her all set up. We kind of did this.
That was impromptu. We apologize. But we just made a connection. You guys must have had an absolute blast.
We did.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
you're good.
Good
Morgan,
job.
Morgan, welcome to Cancel This. And so now everybody gets to see.
Here.
Well, maybe we've been told you do have a good voice, so maybe we need to have you do some tracking for our commercials as well.
She's like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, talk right into that mic. Let's hear it. Pull that mic
Can you
to
pull the mic back to you, Morgan, so we can hear you too?
There you go.
There you go.
All right, nice. There we go. Did we still have Rick, or did he have to take off?
He said goodbye and he's gone.
Yeah, it's all right, man.
That's
It's okay.
all right.
It's
we
okay.
We've got our girl here.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
We love Morgan. I get to see Morgan's beautiful smiling face every day when I leave the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Always
so
happy
kind to me today.
to see you ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, guys, we've had an awesome show.
It was.
I'm great. And by the way, you set up Rick for us, so thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you,
Happy to
thank
do
you,
so.
thank you. Okay, give it. He wasn't making you feel uncomfortable, was he?
No, never.
Okay.
No, they had a blast.
You were. It was just
They're
you two.
buddies.
You two were just in the car alone, right?
No, his assistant was with us.
Oh,
at all
okay.
times.
Yeah, I get
Don't try to cancel him, Vic.
Because I heard the Nature Boy, and those lines are pretty good.
No,
Yeah.
he's great.
It wasn't like she woke up the next morning in Miami or something like
Very
that.
true.
Or
in the
at
back of the
PTs.
plane.
I did go to Detroit with him, but that was.
Oh, there you go. I take it back. Never mind.
Whoa! And Detroit's a good place.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You guys went to seriously? You went to Detroit?
Yeah.
Is that to do his product line for the marijuana?
Oh yeah.
Did you try a Woo Chew?
No, I have not tried a Woo Chew yet.
We're going to save that for a weekend.
We will, definitely.
But do you have any of that product? Did he give you any of the product?
Yes, he did send me home. With
Oh, we got Woo
Yes,
Chew. Is that in Strategic
he
Air Services?
did.
No, it's not here. Okay, I wish it was.
Oh, no.
Across state line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's not legal.
That was when they were in Detroit.
So here I go canceling myself.
Good job.
Yeah, how dare you?
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey,
Is this
In
Friday?
Detroit, you can do whatever when you're in Detroit.
That's exactly what.
I feel like this is a Friday. Like we cannot top this tomorrow.
Yeah,
we
well,
could just literally call off sick.
we haven't even decided what our topic is yet. Is it AI? Is it? We're going to start going into topics and really just attack one topic.
AI would be a good one because
The
it's about-
artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I keep trying to have conversations with AI and it does not want to have conversations.
What do you
It
mean?
doesn't. I keep asking AI, hey, do you have a girlfriend? He goes, I'm not allowed to tell you that. It tells me weird stuff. I should copy and save some of these.
Well, see, I think of AI as being a woman, not a man.
Yeah, me too.
No, not me.
Oh, I like it.
Eric
a
thinks
great...
of AI as being a man. I think
Well, I don't look at it as any gender.
It never. Well, you just asked it if it has a
All
boyfriend.
right, that's it. Topic tomorrow is.
Oh God! Now AI has pronouns. Jeez.
Here we go.
It's a
non-binary.
It's literally non-binary. It's literally non-binary.
Scott, you've taken us to a whole new level.
I'm done.
What we can do, we appreciate everybody who watches us on cancelthisshow.com, who listens to us. Continue to share the show, like, subscribe. We're doing our best to get the best guests that we can on. Special thanks to Kevin Malutnik for securing Ric Flair for us, Morgan for making sure that it happened. But let's be real. If it wasn't for Morgan, we don't get Ric Flair on to this morning. He had that planned all towards the end so that he could bring up Morgan.
Calculated.
So Morgan, we owe you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
And if you guys have ideas for guests that we can continue to talk about, let us know. We'll get into it. We'll do what you guys want to do. And you can catch all of our original content all the time in our library at cancelthisshow.com.
Tashara Jones, that's my guess.
Cancelthisshow.com. What
That's
do you
the
mean?
one I want. I want Tashara.
You want Tashara what?
I want to talk to Tashara. That's the guest I want on this show.
I'll continue to try, but
Okay.
when we go, Tashara, can you come on cancel this? I maybe she will. We got a better shot at well, now that the lawsuit's
Kim
going on,
Gardner?
Kim Gardner, but
Well, we've interviewed Kim Gardner before, not on this show, but in a prior show.
yeah.
Just give me a media badge. I'll go down there myself. I do not care.
We're doing it. That's our street team. We'll get you down there. There are no such things as media badges anymore, Eric.
There's not?
No.
I quit. There's no point of
But you know what you could do?
I'm
You
so
could-
old and over the hill. It's
Eric,
unbelievable.
no, you could stand outside of City Hall.
No, I'm not Elliot Davis.
You and Ellie can start hanging out. You can check out some of the
Yeah,
finer
we'll go down
places
and
say hello.
we'll go down to the old Kennedys and have a beer.
All right. Thanks again for everybody. We have a full house. Thanks for Mike Yoder joining us today live. Ric Flair joining us live. Lizzie Sparks, nobody better than what she does when it comes to promoting us on social media. Kevin Malutnik in-house. We've got Morgan in studio with us as well. Miss Morgan Hummel. Scotty Gherkin. Man, Scotty, you doing all right, man? We run you through the ringer, dude.
I'm all right.
All right.
Got
Eric
a lot
Johnson.
of editing to do, but I'm all right.
I'm fine. Leave me alone. Bye-bye.
Eric Johnson, Tab the Hassle. I'm Vic Faust. We appreciate it, guys. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow for our paranormal free for all Conspiracy Friday. We'll come up with it. Right now, it's AI leading the charge. We'll get it ready. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Good job, Morgan.
Thank you guys.